Tonight, hundreds came together to honor a mother whose senseless killing ripped a family apart.
We're managing. A lot of people don't know what to say, and I think that speaks volume.
When words are impossible to muster, we'll show you how Caroline Huebner-Macarat's family were supported by hundreds of people in Leslieville tonight.
We can do better. We need to do better.
Plus, taking a protest directly to the doorstep, why homelessness advocates chose this Bathurst neighborhood to demand immediate action for the plight of asylum seekers stuck on Toronto streets.
I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't want to or mean to ruin anybody's life.
And beaten and bruised, CBC News gets exclusive first access to video of the so-called Crypto King, why his lawyer says the apology was given under duress, and the new details we've uncovered about his alleged kidnappers. A live shot, though, of a new memorial at Jimmy Simpson Park in Leslieville. This was the scene of grief and sadness tonight. Hundreds of people were there to remember 44-year-old Caroline Huebner-Macarat. The mother of two was hit by a bullet 10 days ago after she got caught in the crossfire of an altercation on the street not far away. Her husband spoke tonight about his heartache and his wife's legacy. Our reporter is there on scene, and we'll take you back for a full report in just a couple of minutes. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. Thanks for joining us tonight. First, though, I want to take you to a mission that is picking up new urgency by members of the nonprofit Progress Toronto, out knocking on doors tonight as dozens of refugees and asylum seekers continue to camp outside a downtown Toronto shelter. The group was trying to get signatures on their petition demanding the federal government fund more shelter spaces for refugee claimants.
It's not fair. This is not how we should be treating folks who are coming here looking for safety. We can do better. We need to do better.
Tonight's canvass was in the University Rosedale neighborhood. That is Minister of Finance Chrystia Freeland's local riding. Toronto's at-capacity shelter system has been turning away refugees and asylum seekers since the beginning of June and referring them to federal programs, saying it needs more financial support from the federal government. But some homelessness advocates are accusing the city of shirking its responsibility. And there are fresh calls tonight for the head of Toronto's Shelter Support and Housing Office to resign immediately. Ali Chiasson has the story.
While politicians decide what to do about the dozens of asylum seekers who have been sleeping outside the Shelter Referral Center, volunteers are doing what they can to help.
This is deplorable, it's unacceptable, and we know that this is not who we are.
Philanthropist and founder of the Paramount Fine Foods empire, Mohamed Faki, visited the site today, saying he's ready to help, as he has before, paying to shelter newcomers and the homeless and these asylum seekers who are both.
If we can find a place, I'm happy to start by pledging to pay for it. But most importantly, I'm really hoping that government will step in, resolve it.
At the same time, more than 20 advocates have signed an open letter calling for the head of Toronto's Shelter and Housing Administration to resign, saying the system has been letting down the broader homeless population for years.
It also has a shelter standards policy that Gord Tanner is in charge of that says regardless of your immigration status, you have a right to access shelter services.
AJ Withers says it's like Toronto forgot its designation as a sanctuary city, or worse.
Human beings should not be used as pawns.
Toronto City Manager issued a statement in defense of Tanner saying, quote, "I have every confidence in the individual mentioned in the letter and in my team who has been working diligently and on an ongoing basis in partnership with many other experts and community leaders, some of whom are signatories of the letter." While that and intergovernmental talks continue, outreach workers like Lorraine Lamb are busy on the ground sorting donations.
Gift cards and money are really helpful. Also, there's a huge ask for running shoes and backpacks as well.
Mayor Olivia Chow's office has confirmed that the meetings are ongoing. Tomorrow, there will be a meeting between all three levels of government where immediate solutions to finding shelter for the asylum seekers will be discussed, as well as longer-term solutions to avoid this from happening again. But really, it's all about fixing a system that many say broke a long time ago. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Next to a story about water safety, and the water can be appealing this time of year with the hot temperatures that we've been having, but they can also be incredibly dangerous. Today marks the beginning of National Drowning Prevention Week, and Greg Ross shows us authorities are warning even advanced swimmers take precautions when out on the water.
These women were just coming back from a paddleboard at Balmy Beach this morning when they were approached by an officer from the Toronto Police Marine Unit. This was just a warning about the importance of life jackets and personal flotation devices.
Their safety equipment is required, especially on this lake.
They did not have life jackets or PFDs with them. There must be one for every person on board a watercraft, and children 12 and under are required to be wearing one.
Yeah, I've been out in the water many times on the paddleboard, and I don't wear a life jacket. I feel like I'm a reasonably strong swimmer, but I understand it makes sense. Should probably wear a life jacket.
Police say even strong swimmers face dangers on Lake Ontario, which can be much colder than you think, especially the farther you get away from the shore.
If it causes you to panic and you can't regain yourself and you ingest that water, it's not long at all. Within 30 seconds, you will go down.
Life jackets are equally important if you are out on a boat. One of the messages delivered at this press conference for Drowning Prevention Week at Balmy Beach this morning.
In fact, over 13 years of data, we have lost 300 people on OPP patrolled waterways across Ontario. 262 of these people were not wearing life jackets or PFDs of any kind. That is 87% of our fatalities.
Boating and alcohol can also be a deadly combination.
Red Cross Canada, who compile water safety statistics, report an average of 83 deaths a year in Canada from boating-related incidents where alcohol is present or suspected.
Child safety is also a big part of Drowning Prevention Week. The message to parents is never leave your children alone when they are around water.
Our most recent drowning report shows us that in 96% of drowning deaths in children under 5, supervision was either absent or distracted. We've created a new website, watersmartparents.ca. Parents can go to this site and test their water smart knowledge.
The city recommends swimming at locations where lifeguards are present. There are more than 130 lifeguards patrolling 10 beaches across the city throughout the summer. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Certainly warm enough for a swim tonight. 21 degrees as we look live at the city's skyline. Colette Kennedy joining us now for a first look at the weather forecast. And Colette, as nice as it was today, the smoke is definitely back as an area of concern.
Yeah, Chris, a lot of folks commenting, okay, maybe not so much today because it's a bit of extra cloud cover, but yesterday on the sunset, again, beautiful sunsets, but here it is. It's because we've got some smoke in the upper atmosphere, all right, not at surface level from the forest fires, from these ones from Western Canada. So as we look ahead through the overnight and tomorrow morning, we're still going to be keeping some of that in our skies. And then as we go towards tomorrow afternoon, I think we'll see it kind of pushing our way, and we'll get a little bit of improvement on that scale, okay? Temperatures today, I mean, in most cases, very close to seasonal highs for this time of year in July with a bit of humidity there. And as we look through tomorrow afternoon, that's when I would anticipate a few pop-up showers or thunderstorms towards the GTA over into eastern Ontario, isolated, highly isolated into southwestern Ontario. And we'll take a look at what's happening beyond that when I come back. But for tonight, 18 will be the low with partly cloudy skies. There's that chance into tomorrow afternoon, and a high of 26, feeling like about 31, Chris.
All right, sounds hot. Thanks, Colette. With it feeling into the 30s, snow is probably not top of mind for a lot of us, but that is what city councilors are thinking about this week. City Hall reporter Sean Jeffords has more about what they are plowing through.
It's an image you're probably trying hard to forget in the middle of summer. Snowplows working to clear roads. But Toronto councillors will dive into an Auditor General's report on the city's snow clearing program. That report found last winter's snow removal was plagued by equipment and personnel shortages. And a budget update shows the city spent $26 million more than anticipated on it.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This contracting fell well below the standards that I think most people expect and most people deserve. And we have to do better.
Last winter was the first year of a new 10-year contract awarded to a pair of new companies and their joint venture. The report found there was poor record keeping as the deal kicked off. In some instances, that meant the city had no way to ensure it got what it paid for.
This was the first round of a brand new contract.
Councillor Stephen Holliday says he received a lot of complaints about snow clearing last winter.
things didn't go as smooth as many people would have hoped it to be. In fact, I did receive a lot of complaints to the councillor's office on two fronts, just about the timeliness and the coordination of the snow clearing operations.
Winter maintenance, program follow-up.
And the city's top officials in charge of the work defended their efforts at City Hall recently. Vincent Ferraza says that outside of Montreal, no other Canadian city provides the same level of snow clearing services as Toronto.
The City of Toronto provides the most elaborate, the most sophisticated, and most complicated services for winter maintenance probably in all of Canada.
Holiday says in the future, Toronto's auditors have recommended awarding these kind of contracts differently.
One recommendation right at the top that stands out to me was thinking about when doing a major purchase like a $1.5 billion set of contracts over 10 years, another option is to do it in small pieces.
City councillors will examine all of the auditor's recommendations at a meeting starting Wednesday. Councillors may ask city staff to be more strict with the contractors when it comes to enforcing penalties. But staff say that they're working with those companies to ensure that the problems that occurred last winter don't occur again this winter. Sean Jeffords, CBC News, Toronto.
Returning to our top story tonight, and an outpouring of support in Leslieville. That is where a mother of two was killed by a stray bullet a week and a half ago. Tonight at a nearby park, hundreds of people, including those closest to Caroline Huebner-Macarat, gathered to remember and pay tribute to the innocent woman. Anam Khan joins us now from Jimmy Simpson Park. Anam, what stood out from the vigil tonight?
Right, Chris. So it was really powerful seeing all these people come out together, the community. As you can see behind me, there's hundreds of ribbons, these vibrant ribbons representing Caroline's legacy. And even though like hundreds of people have left this area, her presence is very much still felt. You can still see the flowers, you can still smell the candles in the air. It was clear from the turnout that Caroline Huebner-Macarat touched the lives of many. Those close to her described her as someone who loved people and making connections. Her husband says that's what the vigil was all about.
A lot of people don't know what to say, and I think that speaks volume. The girls are in a good position because I'm looking out at all those aunts and uncles that they don't know they have.
People held hands, bonded through music, they hugged and cried together. Macarat's death struck a chord with many in the community. The mother of two was hit by a stray bullet on July 7th in the middle of the day after an altercation between three men. Last week, police arrested and charged one suspect with two others still at large. A break in the case that still weighs heavy on people at her memorial service tonight.
We all do this when something incredibly bad like this happens. We always say, it's terrible, but it's somebody else's family. It's not that close to home, right? Well, this is damn too close to home.
For many people who live in the area, like Richard Gravette, they see themselves in the tragedy. He passed by the area of the shooting just 10 minutes before Huebner-Macarat.
It's so sad. It's so sad because it may be me. It could be me.
And many of those who know her best are still struggling to process her sudden death.
We're all in a bit of shock, to be honest, being so close. We've spent a lot of time with Adrian and the children.
The local councillor and mayor, Olivia Chow, spoke about Huebner-Macarat's legacy at the vigil.
No, we do not understand everything that happens to us in life. We grieve, we're saddened, but we could respond with hope and with love. So that's what we'll do together.
And in the end, mourners tied yellow ribbons and sunflowers to the park's tennis court fence. Organizers say yellow was her favorite color and was chosen to represent her vibrant personality. So the family said a funeral will be held on Saturday, but it's very much a private event for close people to Caroline. And this vigil was really a chance for people to mourn together.
And it was certainly such a powerful response. Thanks so much for this. Welcome back. In Mississauga, a food delivery driver who was attacked on July 9th has now died. 24-year-old Gurvinder Nath was from Brampton, and he was making a delivery around 2 a.m. near Britannia and Credit View Roads when he was attacked by a group. Police say they took off with his vehicle, and Nath was left on the side of the road with life-threatening injuries that he died from 5 days later this past Friday. Homicide investigators are asking for the public's help in their ongoing investigation. Now to a dramatic update in the case of the self-proclaimed crypto king. CBC Toronto has obtained a video of Aiden Platursky apologizing for losing investors' money. We also have exclusive reporting tonight about the 5 men who have been charged with kidnapping him. Angelina King has that story.
I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't want to or mean to ruin anybody's life.
CBC Toronto received this 12-minute edited video showing a beaten and bruised Aiden Platursky, seemingly apologizing to investors and explaining what he claims happened to the millions they gave him. Platursky says he lost $45 million in a single month.
When the money was coming in, I was failing to tell people that I'd lost a lot of it, which caused me to use more leverage in the crypto market, which caused me to lose more and more and more, because I was trying to recoup my losses, which was not the right thing to do at all.
The 24-year-old boasted about his lavish lifestyle and caught the eye of investors, who gave him tens of millions to invest in cryptocurrency and foreign exchange. But last year, things started to unravel, and now authorities are trying to track down millions that are unaccounted for through bankruptcy proceedings.
I honestly feel very, very humiliated. I feel embarrassed.
Toronto police won't comment on the video. Through his lawyer, Platursky said it was taken when he was kidnapped in December. Platursky's lawyer told CBC Toronto, neither he nor I have seen the complete video, so he can't really comment on it. All he can say is that while some of it is accurate, he was being forced to say a lot of it by his kidnappers. Kidnappers, allegedly 5 of them. CBC has learned they were charged earlier this month with dozens of offenses, including kidnapping with the intent to hold Platursky for ransom last December.
Maybe 5 years, hopefully. We'll see, yeah.
One of those charged is Akil Haywood, seen here in a 2017 CBC interview about the Toronto Caribbean Carnival. The community volunteer and businessman is the founder of a nonprofit event organizer. Court records show Haywood lost more than $700,000 investing with Platursky, and in another twist, he was appointed as an inspector in Platursky's bankruptcy proceedings, a role that had him representing the investors trying to recoup their millions.
This was highly unusual.
Norman Groot is a lawyer hired by some of Platursky's investors.
I've never seen a bankruptcy proceeding where an inspector is charged in a kidnapping and a forcible confinement related to recovering money in a bankruptcy. So Mr. Haywood would have been privy to the particulars of whatever investigation Grant Thornton was conducting. And the concern always is that, is that information going to be used for their own purpose outside of the bankruptcy proceedings.
Haywood is also charged with threatening an official from Grant Thornton who's overseeing the proceedings for $2 million in cryptocurrency. The accounting firm said Haywood resigned as an inspector. Grant Thornton said, "We've been cooperating with police and have maintained open lines of communication. We cannot comment any further as this is an active investigation." Haywood declined to do an interview and answer a list of questions, but he did tell us that he's innocent. 4 other men have also been charged in relation to the alleged kidnapping, including with assault and gun offenses. None of the allegations have been tested in court. Platursky's lawyer said his client is grateful for police officers' work in apprehending those involved in his kidnapping and assault. In the video, he seems to concede some investor money went to his own personal expenses, but vowed to pay them all back.
I'm going to do it before I go and buy myself another car, before I go and buy myself another watch, before I go and buy myself expensive clothing or anything.
Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's get back to Colette Kennedy. And Colette, a few pop-up showers tomorrow, but nothing too intense, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot to it, Chris, but when we do get just a bit of wet weather, even if it's scattered in nature, that can sometimes kind of help a little bit with the smoke in the upper atmosphere. So if you missed it earlier in the show, folks are just tuning in, perhaps, I do think we'll see things kind of clearing with that as we get into tomorrow afternoon, but still holding on to it tonight and early tomorrow. But again, this is not at surface level, so shouldn't pose a problem for breathing concerns. Some of those pop-ups tomorrow afternoon, I'll give you a little more detail on that. And just know that Wednesday may be the one week where there isn't at least a decent chance for some odd showers here and there. There's not a lot of rain. It's not a soaking system coming through, but it's summertime weather, so we get a little bit of lift and some humidity. So here it is. I've paused this at 2 p.m. and some showers there from the west end of the GTA stretching into eastern Ontario. There could be an isolated one back towards southwestern Ontario or into cottage country, although some of that kind of drying up. And then as we roll forward and we take a look at Wednesday, we do have an area of high pressure that kind of noses its way in. And so everything stays further north. So more sunshine that you can kind of count on Wednesday. And then Thursday we'll roll back into a chance of even more widespread showers and thunderstorms kind of bubbling up. And with those, this is Thursday, more later in the afternoon and into the early evening hours. So the winds that were stronger earlier kind of easing up through the overnight, and that's going to allow the temperatures, in many cases here, the mid-teens, Sarnia 16, slightly warmer with the lake influence. Now overnight tonight, our range from Oshawa and Markham, a low of 17, probably holding pretty close to 20 degrees there in St. Catharines and kind of in between Mississauga and Hamilton. I've put the smoke in there, and then we get out of that tomorrow as we see a few of these showers kind of passing through. That 26 is going to feel like about 31. So there's some humidity there, but it certainly isn't oppressive. Wednesday, I know I put it here, an isolated shower isn't out of the question, but I really think this will be the driest day, the day you can count on a little bit more. And then I would definitely have an umbrella around for the second part of the day on Thursday. And you'll notice it's pretty slight, but that we have the temperatures kind of dropping down a tiny bit towards the end of the week. Chris.
All right, looking forward to Wednesday. Thanks, Colette. Have a great night. And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Marivelle Tarouk has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night.